Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome everyone to my channel. This is Mr. Ahmed Halmi speaking, and today we'll be talking about GAT, or as what we call in Arabic, Qudurat. So, Qudurat is a test that is taken by the Saudi students in Saudi Arabia to help the students enroll to universities. We call it GAT in English because it basically targets the high school graduates, those who are in international schools. So, if you are in the Arabic schools or the governmental school, you take Qudurat in Arabic. If you are in an international school, you take the same test, but basically in English. Of course, the questions will be a little bit different. However, the test targets the international schools, those who are in grade 10 or grade 11 or grade 12. But basically, starts from grade 11 or grade 12. So you can take this test like maybe when you are in grade 12. Most of my students take it when they are grade 11 because they still have to take SAT or Tahsili or SAAT. It's according to their own ambition and goals. However, it's a must for every single high school student to take this test, whether in English or in Arabic, to be able to enroll to universities in Saudi Arabia. So let's see what GAT means in this session. So this is like a brief introduction about Qudurat in English, or what we call GAT. GAT means General Aptitude Test. So it's a test that targets the high school students for the international section, especially in Saudi Arabia. So the test is based on two sections. The first section is called verbal section. The second section is called the quantitative section. So the first section is verbal. The second section is quantitative. When we say verbal, that means this test targets your own English skills. So when I say verbal, that means I'm talking about the English language skills. And when I talk about quantitative, that means it targets your own mathematical and analytical skills. But basically, my course is talking about the verbal section only. So you will be faced with 68 questions divided into 4 sections. So the whole test will take about 3 hours, but most of my students finish in 1.5 hours, 2 hours maximum. However, the verbal section is divided into 4 other sections. Before we know the other sections, let's say why the test is important. The test is important if you are a graduate of a high school because number one, it targets your own analytical and deductive skills. Number two, it tests your own reading comprehension skills, especially in English, and your ability to recognize logical relations. And then in order to like retest your own inferences and deduction and like comprehension skills. So for the verbal sections, we test your own analytical and deductive skills, your reading comprehension skills, your ability to recognize relations between words, and your inferences ability. However, what we need to do is to know how to master every single section of the verbal test. There are 4 main sections. The first one is called verbal analogy. The second one is called contextual error. The third one is sentence completion, and the fourth one is the reading comprehension. There is another type of questions which is called like circle the odd word out, or the word that doesn't belong to the whole group, but we weren't gonna be like focusing on that now because it's basically it's like pretty easy for you. However, our main goal here is to focus on the verbal section, the contextual errors, and the sentence completion and the reading comprehension. Our job is to master the verbal analogy section, because the moment you master the verbal analogy section, you'll be able to find the contextual error, the sentence completion, and the reading comprehension. And let's be honest here, the most difficult section of those 4, and the one that most of my students like complain about, is the verbal analogy. So this is the one that we are going to be focusing on mainly of this course. So we might solve approximately more than 200, 300 verbal analogy questions. And then we will get to the contextual errors, and then the sentence completion, and then the reading comprehension. Of course, each one of those will be divided into episodes. Like I'm gonna make those for you into sections or like specific episodes for each one of them in order to have an easy access to it. And I will also give you some تجميعات. I will also give you some تسريبات, leaks. I will also give you some, we can say like questions that will improve your own thinking skills. Inshallah, the coming clip, we'll be talking about the verbal analogy questions, and we will know how we can make the verbal analogy question like the easiest section of all these sections. So I'll be seeing you in the coming clip. Stay tuned for coming videos because we'll be solving a lot of questions about the verbal analogy and the other three sections. So stay tuned. See ya.